you're there. All right. We're back for the second time now. Please excuse us. A little bit of technical difficulties. Alive and Stone podcast. I'm here with Taylor Roberts of Riding with Killers. He was gracious enough to do a second hangout with me. Sorry about the shenanigans, but it's kind of like we say, it kind of worked out because you got a lot more stuff to talk about, and this is great. And
it definitely worked out. There's a lot of developments that have happened since we last spoke.
Absolutely, man. This is going to be a good time. So a lot of stuff to go into. I'm going to go ahead and start it off. So since we've chatted, you were in the recording studio. You were knocking out some tracks with your band. Recently, you guys have gotten into the brackets for Incarnation, which is a DW Presents comp. Super stoked for you guys. Going to be watching that. Go ahead and fill us in on kind of the aftermath of the recording studio. Are you guys still recording, or what's the next step now for you guys right now? What's new?
So recording, man, first of all, that's one of the best experiences I've ever had. And real quick, I got to give a shout out to my boys in Cane Hill. Because speaking of recording, their drummer, Devin Clark, did the drums for the new record. And I actually ended up doing a vocal writing session with Devin and Whit, their vocalist, and it was amazing. Whit is a wonderful, wonderful vocalist. It was awesome that he took the time to sit down with me and do some work. Same thing with Devin, like world-class drummer. Cane Hill is, I mean, they're badass. You know them, and it was a really great experience, man. We were down in New Orleans. Working with Jacob Herman. He came over from Gothenburg to do this record with us. And, we got the music part of it done. And right as we were getting ready to start doing vocals, like, everybody got sick. Like, I got sick, Jacob got sick, the studio cat got sick and fucking died, which was awful. We missed Zelda. RIP. Ugh.
Yeah, R.I.P. man, that's terrible, dude.
Dude, it was awful, man. Like, when we were doing guitars, like, she was like this little frail 20-year-old bag of bones. But like, she kept coming up to me and she would be like staring at me like, and then she would like look up at me. I'm like, bro, are you like asking for permission to like cross over? Because the looks she was given, but she was a sweetheart, man. It was a huge bummer. Like dude, everybody was like sad about that one. It came out of nowhere, but she was still there for the guitar portion of it. So part of the record is definitely in memory of Zelda. But we I couldn't do vocals the last week, so I'm gonna be going to Gothenburg in March to finish the record, which I'm really, really excited about. It'll be my first time really out of the country to do music like this. And from what I understand, we're also going to do like a filmed acoustic thing at a nice studio over there. I don't know if we're going to do it in like a performance hall or if we're going to do it at Jacob's studio, but he brought up the idea of doing like a stripped down Riding with Killers acoustic set while we're over there doing vocals. So I'm really looking forward to that, man. So it's been a really, really cool experience. James Lasku came down and did bass for us, and that was incredible. But Jacob got all of us, I feel, between me, Devin, and James to really look at our instruments in a very different way than I have for the last 20 years of doing what I do. And it was so refreshing because Jacob's not a guitar player, he's a drummer, and he's a fantastic drummer at that. And he builds drum libraries for TuneTrack, and he's very involved on the technological side of recording, as you know what I mean? Like, he's not just recording bands, like he's actually building packs that people all over the world are utilizing. And to get to work with someone as special as that, like on top of like the connection and the relationship that Jacob and I have, like I miss him, dude. Like, it really sucks not waking up to go grab coffee or breakfast together and go sit and create. And I just know that Jacob's going to be a lifelong friend for me. And I'm very excited to go to his hometown and see him, man. Like, he's a great human being.
Sick, man. That's awesome. It sounds like there's a very magical vibe there. So from if my memory serves me right, have you been on stage recently?
Yes, we just played Pierre's in Fort Wayne last Thursday, which
Sick.
was kind of funny because we were the only rock band on the bill, but it was awesome because I love doing mixed genre shows. But it was two horror punk bands,
Likewise.
Blitz Kid and Grave Robber, and
Oh, wow.
everybody was so cool. Everybody was so nice, and it was funny because, like, when you're playing and you're the odd man out, you're like, oh man, are people gonna like us? And we start playing, and I'm like, well, no one's leaving the stage. And then I looked around, people are starting to headbang and get into it, and it's like, we just had a really great time, man. We made new fans, people that might not have listened to us, because like, I would say I would describe this as more mainstream rock, if you will. I don't know really what the
I
this
would say,
genre would be, but
yeah.
like we're definitely not punk. We're not writing music that you can two-step, and
Yeah.
it's not that vibe. But the fact that we were able to mesh and sneak onto a show and we didn't get booed. We made friends with the dudes in Grave Robber. They're so fucking nice. The Blitz Kids guys are awesome. It was just fun, man. It was.
Yeah.
It had a very nostalgic vibe about the show, and Stan's room at Pierre's is just badass. Like, it's the smaller room, but the stage is fucking gigantic. The sound
Yeah.
system's amazing. It's a great, like, it's a really good room. I
Yeah.
don't know if you've ever played there or not, but I highly recommend it.
That's sick, man. Yeah. I had to take a moment. I was kind of at a loss because I remember seeing the way that you guys look like fucking rock stars. Like, your look, your drummer's badass. The other dudes in the band are like sick. You have just a very iconic look with the red hair, and just the way you look in generally is very iconic. And I think
Thank
that
you.
you guys have a great look. And I would say that your style is I would say very, closer to ours. Very straightforward rock, but you definitely peel off a lot of those modern influences, I would say. I love how straightforward and how wet your sound is in terms of, like, just the music, the way that the guitars cut through the mix and everything's well balanced. Your voice is just cuts right through the mix, and it's really good. And the songwriting is just really on point. I feel like I love the way that you guys layer your choruses and you get to the point, and that's
Dude,
something.
you're making me blush. Stop.
I'm trying to match your hair, bro. Come on. I'm trying to make you blend in. So tell me about Taproot and your involvement with Taproot. I don't know if I saw what I saw, but I think I did. I don't know if you're at liberty to talk about it.
You did see what you saw, and I am at liberty.
Oh, tell us.
And I got to tell you this, man. So, like, I'll get to the actual portion of it. But one thing I noticed. So obviously, I'm sure you saw that Taproot's playing Blue Ridge Rock Festival next year, like September, is when that is.
Right.
What's really funny about that, man? So Taproot was the first real North American tour I ever got to do. My old band Catharsis went on the road with them.
Yeah.
We had played a show with them at the Soul Kitchen in Mobile, Alabama, like a couple months prior. And then we did a radio festival in my hometown of Gulfport, Mississippi, and 97.9 CPR is my local radio station. And which big shout out to them. I love you guys, Scott, Kenny, Riley, everybody there at the station. I love and miss you. Thank you for everything. I appreciate all of them so much. And Kevin Harris and Jared at the Sound 228. What's up?
Got to mingle with those guys a little bit. Down and Out made the Dirty 30 for the first time, so we're very blessed. We love the work they do over there.
Yeah, that's my hometown, man. That's all out of my hometown. But
shout out to Kevin Harris.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
What's funny is when I was still working at Sweetwater, I actually sold them all the gear to get the show up and running, like to do the podcast and all that good stuff. So I had a little bit of involvement, like, helping get the gear that they needed. So it was really cool to be a small portion of that. So anyway, the guys at 97.9 CPR, they've basically, like, given me so many opportunities over the years. They've really believed in me and had my back. And they had us out to play CPR Fest. And that was in 2013. And, you know, I went and talked to Phil, their bass player. I was like, hey, man, you remember me? He's like, Taylor. And I was like, what? Like,
Yeah.
I was like,
Does he
all
still play with
right,
the
whatever.
backpack on?
Phil from Taproot, remember my name, whatever.
Does he still play with
And
the backpack?
we just got to talking, and I basically got their info, and he passed my info to their manager. Their manager loved us, and he took us on. And then next thing I knew, I was out on the road with Taproot for their winter tour in 2013, which was coincidentally the last real tour that they did. But basically 10 years later, after meeting those guys, touring with them, you know, their drummer Dave Coughlin, he's not the original guy, but basically he's been riding with me and riding with Killer. So I've had a very big connection to Taproot over the last, I would really say, almost 10 years since I met him. And I was recently asked to fill in on guitar for them at Blue Ridge Rock Festival. And I think it's crazy that I played a festival with them in September of 2013. That was the initial festival that really got things going. And then 10 years later in September, I'm stepping on stage as their guitar player for this show. And
For Mike?
Yeah, I'm gonna be the only non-original member on stage with them. Jared's gonna be coming back on drums. It'll be Phil on bass, and then of course Steven on vocals. And yeah, man, the inner 12-year-old new metal kid in me is losing its fucking shit still.
That's great, man.
I cried, bro. Like I was meeting some of my favorite realtors and clients, Matt and Sam Stillman. They're one of the coolest couples I've ever met. They're wonderful people. I was meeting them for lunch with my partner Macy, and you know, just a good little mingle, break bread kind of thing. And right as we were in the middle of lunch, I got that text, and like I had to like hold everything in. But like as soon as I got to the car, it was just awesome. Like tears on tears, and it's just like, you know, I never wanted to be the fill-in guy, because obviously I want my band to make it. I want my art to be out there, but like
sometimes that's how it goes, though. You know,
but I'm for sure, no doubt. But like I've had offers in the past to do stuff, but nothing. It doesn't mean what this means. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, of course.
Because Taproot was one of those bands that whenever I was first getting into rock music, I had switched schools to St. John, and I became friends with this kid Caleb McBride, and you know, basically second grade through most of elementary school, like I was at his house, we were hanging out, and like his family was how I got into rock music. That's what they listened to in the household. And Miss Susan, his mom's favorite band, was Taproot. So like we would listen to Gift and Welcome, of course, Blue Sky Research, all the fucking time. And I just remember watching those dudes on MTV, and it was like them, Papa Roach, Linkin Park, Slipknot, Mudvayne, Korn, System of a Down, Deftones, you know, like that core group. And I remember being a little kid at Caleb's house. We would turn the fucking stereo volume just loud enough to not piss his parents off, because we would do this shit at like 12:30, 1 a.m. in the morning kind of a thing at a sleepover on a weekend. He had all these sick black light posters and cool lights, like so we would turn all the lights off, turn the black lights on, and like we would pretend we were in a band. And like one song I would play guitar, and then the next song I'd be the vocalist. You know, we would switch it back and forth, and you know, inevitably Mr. Terry and Miss Susan would come and be like, shut that fucking shit off. Like, we get it, but goddamn, it's like 2 a.m. But like, you know, like dreaming as a little kid of playing these songs, and you know, Poem and Mine and Smile and Calling and like all these songs were of course in rotation, like just jamming out with your friends at sleepovers. And it's like, I get to do that with one of my childhood bands. Like, holy fuck. Like, yes, this is something that I would be a fill-in hired gun kind of a guy for, you know what I mean? Because it's like it's not just about a paycheck. at this point. It's about playing these songs that actually meant something to me as a kid and still means something to me as an adult. And to be asked by those guys to step on stage with them is the biggest honor in the world. It felt like it feels like validation in a lot of ways, because the last 3.5 years, man, I've been in my head like crazy. Like, don't get me wrong, Riding with Killers we've only done 6 shows, but those 6 shows have been fucking incredible. They've all been badass. There hasn't been a shitty show yet. They've all been with good bands, but like, obviously I'm on record number 2 and the first one isn't even out or mixed yet. So it's like I'm doing all these things, but it's like I know I'm not exactly where I want to be just yet, because I want to be back on tour. I miss touring. Like I hated stopping touring because what I fucking do, man. I love being on stage. I love meeting people. So
yeah, bro.
These last 3.5, 4 years have really, I feel like they've made me weird and awkward socially. I'm almost relearning things, but like you get in your head of, well, man, maybe I'm not good enough to do this anymore. Maybe my time has passed. Maybe, yeah, you know what I'm saying? All this doubt that just fills your head, and then to randomly get that phone call and that text, and it's just like, oh my God, like I am still here. I am still I'm still a part of it. And like I have a long fucking journey still ahead of me. So
I know exactly what you're talking about, man.
I'm just on cloud 9 these days, bro. Like I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm exactly where I need to be at the same time. You know what I'm saying? But like the journey is starting to get so much fun. It's just becoming more and more fun. And I'm just very grateful for where life is at right now, man.
That's awesome, man. And I think to add to that, one of the things I was saying is like, I totally know what you mean when you want your brand to, like, you want to succeed with that. And that's awesome. But here's the cool thing. You're going to step on stage with Taproot. You're going to make friends with fans. They're going to see your red hair. They're going to know exactly who you are because you have, like, you and you're Taylor Roberts and you're iconic. And when it comes time for you to take Ride with Killers, all those days that you spent with Taproot, you're going to pull those fans with you and they're going to be with you. And I feel, and that's what I mean when I say, sometimes that's the way it goes. Sometimes you get an opportunity where you step on stage and you get to mingle with those booking managers and you get to mingle with those sound guys and they remember you and you're a great hang and it's going to translate over. And this is an amazing experience. I got 2 things I wanted to say because I know this is about you and not me. But the first thing I want to say is that Steven Richards is one of my idols. When I was 15 years old, seeing Taproot at the House of Blues, man, or 16 years old,
Oh, that's sick.
Picking my head up in the pit and seeing everyone cheering and not knowing why. And it's Steven Richards is in the pit with you. And he'd throw the mic back on stage and pit with us and let us throw him and he'd throw us. And he's not a big guy, but he was with us. And
dude, the energy that Steve has though, bro. Like I can't wait to try to match him. Because that's the other thing about this that I'm definitely going to be doing some singing, which is super cool. I feel like we're going to be able to finally get some 3-part harmonies going with that band because there's so many harmonies on the record. But like, dude, Steve throws the fuck down, man. And I'm excited to throw my neck and back out trying to keep up with them. And the fact that I get to just be a guitar player again, though, that's one of the coolest things for me is I get to focus on being who I am at my core, and I'm a guitar player. So that's the cool part.
Memory. Oh yeah, sick. A memory that was burned in my mind. Like I'll never forget. Like being like you just have that feeling of like when you're sitting there listening to you're sitting there in the HOB and you're listening to the mingle music and like all that shit, and then the music lowers, and then all you hear is everyone's cheering and the curtain it gets dark, and then the curtains open up and you see Steve Richards larger than life on a fucking box, and he's just nodding his head like this, smile, and just start moving, and just. I will never forget that, and it was so badass. And so yeah, man. I mean, this is really a great experience for you. And I got to actually write. I don't like to throw this dude's name around a lot because I'm not try not to be a name drop person. But I got to write quite a few songs that made this album cycle with one of my idols. He's a singer from a band called Red Sun Rising. He's in the band called The Violent, and it was Mike Protich. I got to write. He actually was kind enough to let me hire him to kind of help me with some of the songs, and and it was so cool to be able to write music with one of the people that when I was 26 and wanting to do this and not wanting to pursue medicine anymore, he was one of the first band. They were one of the first bands that I saw live, and that set was like, oh, I got to do this. Like there's something missing, and to be able to follow someone like that, and then just on a whim, text him on IG and have him be larger, down to earth enough to help someone else out and teach me about songwriting was just an incredible experience. I learned so much from him. I can't wait to work with him again, but I know exactly.
Dude, Mike is an incredible vocalist, dude. Like I loved his work with the Red Sun Rising and with the Violent, man. He's just the dude has got a great voice, man.
He's amazing. He's amazing. But okay, so I want to ask you about the song Vultures. That song has a special meaning to you. Kind of give us a little bit of a brief history on what that kind of meant to you, because I know there's a story attached to it.
Yeah, did I send you that one? I can't remember.
No, so Vultures was the song that you talked to me about when you were dealing with. So I know that at a certain point in your life you were dealing with some weight issues, and you overcame that by getting healthier. You worked out. You're kind of a spinach freak now.
Dude, food is abs are made in the kitchen, bro. All day, every day.
Yeah, and I know that
much you work out, it's food.
Yeah, and Vultures was a song that you specifically mentioned that dealt with your relationship with maybe body dysmorphic thoughts or food in general.
Dude, so that song in general, and like I'm really excited for that one. That's one of my favorite new songs that's going to be on the full length record. It's definitely a kick in the ass. Like I do a decent amount of screaming on that, but it's just pumped up, like high energy throughout the entire song. But basically the song is about like fighting that depression, that anxiety, the weight, the pressure of the world around you to do great things while also trying to figure out who the fuck you are. And that song, I've got a great music video idea in mind for that, to where it's like funny, but at the same time, like there's a lot of meaning and layers behind it. But I want to do it as like a goofy wrestling match. And, like the drummer who recorded it, Dave, I would love to have him as the referee with like a big 70s porn stash. I'd love to have Devin in the video as well. Because he plays with me live from time to time when he can. I don't know if he'd even be available, but I see him in the crowd with his glasses on, his long hair, a flannel cap, a flannel jacket with a thing of popcorn and a beer, just like losing his mind in the audience. But having like switch out while the band's actually like playing, like going back and forth between Devin and Dave, and like they're so different people, but like have them wearing the same thing. Like one's a stunt double, one's the real one. And then like same thing with James and Damon. Cause sometimes like James recorded the actual bass. Damon plays with me live when he can. James plays with me live when he can, but having those two switch out playing like, and just there's a part where I'm getting my ass kicked by all these outside forces, and I would think it'd be so funny. You just see Damon and James's hand like come through the camera like this. You see a hand, and I'm looking up, fucking tag them in. They both jump in the ring, and just kind of like it encompasses the song because it's like there's an audience watching all this, because that's the whole premise of the song too. It's like you are fighting this battle, all these different things at the same time, but it's like you realize that people are looking in, watching this happen. And that's why I really want to do it as like a wrestling match, because you obviously have a built-in audience watching, the underdog get the shit kicked out of him by all these different opponents, but he somehow comes back.
Right.
And that's kind of what that song encompasses. It's like, yes, you are fighting this battle, but it's to a point now where like, well, everyone's watching. They're like, well, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna fall? Like, and then you get people who are like, oh, I hope he fucking falls. Or you get someone else that's like, I hope he fucking overcomes. You know what I'm saying? It's like you create this almost reality TV show with your issues in a way, and it's kind of like, okay, I realize that everyone's looking at me, but like, fuck off, because like I'm fighting this battle. But like, I recognize that you're here, but just like, stop trying to help or stop giving your opinion. Like, if you're gonna watch, just watch. But like, I got this kind of a thing. So that's really the where that song was born from. It's just all this chaos, and there's an audience, but you're still gonna fight your way through it at the end of the day.
That's it, man. That's fucking great, man. Awesome stuff, man. We're really looking forward to seeing more out of you guys. I cannot wait to see you on stage with Taproot. It's going to be really cool. I hope that you make it down to the East Coast. If you make it down to Florida, I'm going to be there for sure.
If the guys want to, I'm going to put it this way. Like, all I know is that right now there's one show. Cool. It looks like people are wanting more. I'm open to whatever the guys want to do. If for however long they want me around, if it's just this one show, dreams achieved. You know what I'm saying? But if we get to do another one or a tour comes out of it, that would be sick. But like, as of right now, it's just one show. But dude, it's gonna be a hell of a show.
To kind of veer it back into Riding with Killers, I wanted to kind of, so I think we're really, we really got into a little bit of the crux of what I want to talk about. I don't want to keep you too much longer, but, so I always like to do fun questions at the end. I know we did some fun ones last time, but I want to ask you some different stuff this time. So, all right. So craziest pit you've ever seen at a show, like times where like, was there ever a time where like you were at a show and it was just going off? Like had lost,
playing, or just in general?
Just in general, like at a show you were at where it was just everyone was on the same page, just big ass pits, like anything that like a show where just the energy was just crazy.
I would say I've got two of those. Slipknot, of course.
Oh God,
is just wow, especially on Spit It Out. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, man.
And really, to have Riding with Killers and Incarceration in the same sentence again, I would say Incarceration last year, and it was my first time seeing Wage War too. Like, I had never seen those guys, but like that was my first time really seeing like just truly fucking really get kicked up in a big ass circle pit, and multiple circle pits. I would say Wage War and Incarceration was probably one of the craziest, like, that I just wasn't expecting. But at the same time, like, I was just like, oh, yes, this is what I've been looking for. And then like you see the crowds and it's just like, it makes you feel powerful.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
I would say I saw Static X when I was like 19 at Earth Day Birthday.
Oh, so you got like with Wayne still.
Oh, yeah, with Wayne still. Rest in peace. And
fucking lucky.
So, dude, I remember just like there's always, so I was I was an athletic kid like in high school and stuff. I played football and stuff, and played like at a small school in college like for a semester. And at that time, like I loved hopping in the pit. Like I loved the aggression, but there's always a part of you that has to let a little bit of yourself go. There's always a little fear, but once that adrenaline takes over, you kind of let that go. Right. I remember just like these two pits, they're playing Bled for Days. And I didn't think that Static X was going to be like, I didn't know if it was going to be like the show it was. And just that, just that pulse that they have, that disco pulse. And it's like, there's these two pits next to each other that turned into one. And I remember just going through it just at full speed all the way through, just going through people. Everyone's spirit had like left their, like there was just, everyone's spirit had left their body. Like it was like, we were just in the moment, and it was just such a fucking cool experience, just letting that go. And just like, just that knowing of I'm not going to get hurt today. Like you're just at peace about something. And it was magical. And then the other one I would say, these are bands that I don't frequent too much, but I saw a band called I saw Amity Affliction, and I remember, and another band called Being is an Ocean. I saw at the Amity Affliction show, they split the middle for A Wall of Death, and I'm like,
shit, yeah.
At that point, I'm broken in. I'm like, all right, let's fucking close it. And we form together, and the whole room turns into a pit, and there's girls pushing me. I'm like there's girls against guys. Like, it was just, everybody was with everybody on the same page. Anyone that fell was picked up. Like, there was so much respect, but there was so much camaraderie. It was just a beautiful experience. It was fucking sick. And then the next one I would say is kind of like not really a question, but it's just a confirmation. Your favorite movie is a Saving Private Ryan. I know from last interview you love the troops, you love the World War II history. Kind of just a little bit of a brief talk about that. I know you love the World War II Greatest Generation, man.
Yeah, man. Weirdly enough, a lot of my band members over the years have been military, ranging from Air Force, Navy, Marines, Army, like Coast Guard, like, especially in the area that I was from, because you've got, the biggest Air Force base in the country, Keesler, and then you've got the Navy base over there. And then my grandfather was in the Air Force. He was in Vietnam. And I don't know, man. Like, I grew up around the military. I've got a great deal of respect for the men and women of our country. Like I said, a lot of my close friends are military, and they do something that I'm not capable of doing, I would say. I'm not a soldier type. It's just something that I could never do. And the fact that there are people out there brave enough to do something like that is incredible. And then, so I already had kind of like a military family background. Then, when school turned around, just something about World War II spoke to me. And just because, it decided the fate of the world. The world today, I feel, dude, if the other side had won, we might be speaking a very different language right now. We might be doing things very differently than we are, and hate could have prevailed, but it didn't. And just the amount of sacrifice and courage and valor, and like, just to think about D-Day, man. Like, as soon as that fucking gate's lowering, you're dead. And dude still did it anyway. Like, people were clamoring to go across the world to fight for freedom, man. And
some men killed themselves because they couldn't go.
Like it's crazy. And like the atrocities that the Nazis committed against the world, really. And it's like, like, what were they trying to do? What were they trying to accomplish? And it's like, I hate to use the word fascinating, but it's like, it makes you curious. It's like what's going on in your head that you think that you can wipe out an entire race based on genetics or this, that, or the other, and just all the wacky shit that Hitler, like, the things that he was searching for and the things that he was doing and the experimentation. It's like I can't believe that like that all happened. You know what I mean? And I know it's happened throughout all of history, but it's just like that mass genocide and I don't know, dude. It's just it's horrifying, and it's amazing and heroic. Like, there's so many different elements surrounding World War II. For like you got the atrocities, you've got the heroism, you've got the sadness, you've got the anger, there's just so many things that surround that time in our world. And it's like, how could it, I don't know. It's a lot to still unpack, even
Definitely.
all these years later. Like, people are still unpacking all of it because it was such. I mean, it was obvious. It was a global event, and I don't know, man. It's just I admire all the sacrifice and what people put on the line to make sure that you and I can do what we're doing right now.
Absolutely.
So and again, like one of my yearly traditions is every June 6th I try to watch Saving Private Ryan. Like
yeah.
I feel like that's something that you got to keep that memory alive. It's too important not to.
You have to, man. That's a wonderful tribute, man. Thank you for that. I had a language arts teacher when I was in middle school, and this is a language arts teacher that contributed a lot to my creativity, and I would say I would credit her with a lot of one of the reasons why I don't get. I'm not saying never, because I do get blocked sometimes for sure, but she's one of those people that always kind of instilled creativity in me and always, fostered that. And she was Jewish, and she would for the 3 years that I had her from 6th grade to 8th grade, the Holocaust was a big deal for us. We had a few memoirs that we would read each year, a few books. One of them was by Elu Wetzel, which was called Night. And it was he was I think about 14, like 12 or 13 or something like that, when he was sent to Auschwitz, and I think his parents were killed, and I think that there were others in his family that he lost as well, I think. And it goes all the way from when he went there to all the way to when the troops, when the breach happened and they were released. But that whole thing that happened and the understanding of the Holocaust was a pretty important thing for me growing up, learning about how horrible of an experience that was.
Very
cool vibe on that.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, man.
Speaking of that, man, one thing that I really want to do, I want to go to Auschwitz one day. I feel like that's an important pilgrimage that everybody should make if they are able to. Everyone that's ever gone there that I've known says that it's the saddest, like, craziest experience, but like that they needed to experience that.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping that I can make it over there one day to pay tribute. I'd love to go to Omaha Beach and walk the sands, walk the beaches where that happened. That's definitely 2 bucket list items for me. I just I want to go pay my respects to, like you said, the greatest generation. And yeah, man, it's and we also, speaking of, we have a wonderful Holocaust museum up here in Detroit. I think it's close to oh God, I can see it in my head. I'm still not great with like
it's all right.
Up here. But it's basically in the Metro Detroit area, but they've got a wonderful museum dedicated to up here. It's really great.
Right on, man. So that's awesome. I got to go check it out one of these days. And we have a pretty cool one in Maitland that we have in Florida, here in Orlando. Awesome. Last question, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna wrap you up, because I know you got things to do. This one's an easy one. Favorite candy as a kid? What's your favorite candy? Throw all the health stuff out for a little bit and really vibe with me on this one.
The favorite candy as a kid, man, it was between Butterfinger and a Reese's.
Woo!
And I mean, I am a slut for a Reese's, like a good fresh Reese's.
Frozen.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Because like you get one of the stale ones from the grocery store, gas station. It's like the most disappointing thing ever. But like you get that good, fresh, soft milk chocolate peanut butter cup. Ugh.
Yeah.
And then you can translate to that with ice cream. I mean, it's the best. It's like the best candy that's out there. It's like God was like, you know what? I give a fuck about mankind. Here's Reese's. There you go.
Yeah. It just mends everyone's heart. I would say for me, there was a candy called Snow Caps growing up, and they were like these.
Okay.
Yeah, there's these little like white sprinkled little semi-sweet chocolate little morsels, and I love those. And I think Milk Duds and popcorn are so weird combination. But dude, this has been a great interview, man. This has been awesome. Riding with Killers. These guys are in the brackets right now on DW Presents on Twitch on the Space Zebra Show. They're in the brackets. I want my fans, and I also want to, kind of put out the word or whatever I can to get these guys in the chat. The shows, I don't know when it happens, but it typically happens around 6:30 Eastern time. Get in the chat, vote for Riding with Killers, even if it's just a couple of you. Get in the chat, pump these guys up. Let's get them through the brackets. Let's get them a chance to play in Ohio and get to represent their band. And
Ohio experience, please.
Yes, the Ohio experience. Yeah, keep that between us. It's all good. And then you gotta save that for your big interviews. But this has been a wonderful chat. I know a lot of people say this, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it for you. You can find Riding with Killers everywhere. They have a Spotify, they have an iTunes, they're on all the normal digital streaming outlets. You can go find these guys, pump their music up. They got a cool look, they've got a great live show, and they've got even cooler music. Big things happening for these guys. Check them out. Stay rocking. That's it.